We're going to take a look at using a great bit of software for doing video editing. It's available for free for personal use, Mac and Windows versions. All you have to do is head to HitFilm.com, jump into the menu, go to the HitFilm Express page, get started now, and get it for free. So you have to create an account. The email address that you use here to set up the account is the same one you'll use to log into the software when you first install it. Doesn't matter which options you pick down here. Click on send me the download. You'll get an email to the email address you use with a download link. Once you've installed it, when you start up the software, this is what you'll see. So the home page here has lots of links to great little YouTube videos produced by the company that show you how to use the software, with lots of creative ideas. If you get into video editing, I can recommend having a look through their channel. Lots of tips for some really quite advanced effects. For some of the more advanced stuff, you've got to buy the Pro version or packs here. But for most of what we're going to do, the Express version is perfectly adequate. All right, so heading over to New here to begin a new project. For videos for websites that we need for our projects, working at 720p is perfectly fine. We're after a video file that has a relatively small size, so we can embed it in the web page, and it's not going to take forever to load. Most people are going to view the video quite small anyway, so 720p is fine. That gives you a fairly high resolution video with quite a compact file size. 25 frames per second should be fine. 25 or 30, and then we're good to go. So start editing. Now, when you begin the software yourself, you're probably going to find that your workspace looks like this. On the left-hand side, we've got a trimmer. So this is used for highlighting particular bits of a video clip that you want to use in your timeline down here. The right-hand preview panel here is the final video that you're putting together. And then there's a load of panels down here, squished in the corner for modifying the properties of certain things, for choosing special effects and so on. I've found this layout a little bit kind of awkward to use with everything kind of squashed down the corner here. And because I'm not doing a kind of feature-length film with masses of video clips that all need trimming, having the trimmer this big and taking up so much space is not really necessary. So I'd recommend you rearrange the screen a little bit to give yourself a bit more room with the panels down the bottom here. If you pick up the media tab here and dock it to the left of the trimmer, and you can also stick up, I stuck up the history and the special effects. All right, so they're at the top left. Only needs to be narrow because we're generally picking things from a vertical list. The controls here let you modify the properties of certain special effects and so on. So sticking that up here next to the trimmer, along with the text control panel, frees up space for your timeline, so you've got a bit more room down here, and still gives us plenty of space for our preview over here. And if we need to use the trimmer, it's still available to us. So this layout works well for me, but you can obviously lay out your screen to whatever suits you. Once you have got a layout you like, if you head to the view menu at the top here, you can save the workspace so that each time you start the software, the layout will be ready for you to use. All right. Now you're obviously going to begin your project with a bunch of video clips, possibly some audio clips, maybe a few still images. It's important right from the outset that you organize your files. Any video that you've shot yourself is probably going to be named by your camera or by your phone with some kind of numeric file name. It's better at the start to sort through those clips, find the ones you want, and give them a name that makes sense to you. If you're rearranging files and renaming them after you've already begun using them inside a project, it's possible you're going to break the links to those files. So it's best to get things organized up front before you begin, so that you so number one, you can find things, and number two, you're not going to mess up your projects by moving things around later on. So I've got an empty folder here that I'm going to use to store my my media in. I'm going to make some subfolders inside here. One for video clips, one for some still images, and one for audio or music. Okay, so into these subfolders, I'm gonna pull over the media I'm going to be using. I've got one still image here. I've got a couple of video clips I'm going to be using. Put those in there, and I've got a bit of music. Okay, so I've got everything organized, ready to import into HitFilm Express. So I'm going to grab all these files and drag them over to the media tab here. Drop them inside, and then we're ready to begin working with them. So with the trimmer panel selected here, clicking on any of these video clips will show you a little preview of them, and down the bottom we've got some controls so we can play the clip to see what it looks like. We've also got a scrubber here. A scrubber is a control that you can drag backwards and forwards to skip through the clip, and a couple of other controls that we're going to be using in just a second. You'll notice that these two clips have got green backgrounds. So you've probably heard of green screening. It's used in a lot of films to overlay actors onto different backgrounds, add special effects and so on. Alright, so the Pikachu clip here is good to go already. It's just a plain video clip with no extra stuff that we need to chop out. The robot clip though has got some titling at the start that we don't want to include when we use the clip. So dragging my scrubber along here until I get to the start of the clip at this point, what I'm going to do is mark something called the in point. So it's this little icon down here. The shortcut for it is I on the keyboard. If I click that, what we've marked is the start of the point of the bit of the clip that's of interest to us. We can scrub along till we get to the end of the clip. So the screen goes blank, and then there's a bit of green at the end that we don't want. And at that point, I can mark the out point, or O. So you'll see that the bit of the clip we want to use is highlighted. The bits we don't want to use are blanked off. We haven't actually changed the file at all, so we've not modified the file. It's not going to affect the original footage that we shot. All we've done is we've marked the bit that's of interest to us. So before we begin, just so you know the different parts of the screen, I've mentioned that we've got the viewer over here where we can preview the video we're making, and we've got this big section down the bottom that's the timeline. The timeline consists of a number of tracks. So at the moment, by default, we've got one video track and one audio track. Dragging things down into our timeline, we can place things on existing tracks, or if we place them above and below, what we'll do is automatically create new tracks as needed. So if you want bits of video to run, to be overlaid, or audio to run at the same time, so you hear two sounds from two different sources, you can create as many additional tracks as you need. Down here is the zoom control for the timeline, so you can zoom in to get a bit more detail. So that's 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds, or we can zoom right out to get a full overview of 1 minute, 2 minutes, and so on. So zoom in and out as you need. If you're working on any kind of fine detail or any effects that need delicate tweaking. The effects panel up here, there's a whole bunch of special effects built in that we can apply to various tracks and clips. Controls lets us adjust the properties of these special effects after we've applied them and so on. The text tab we'll be using when we're adding some titling in to modify font size and so on. And that's it. So we're ready to start.